Hey y'all, our latest real estate stats for Austin, Texas and the surrounding area has just come out, and I want you to be the first to know about it. So let's get into it. Our median sales price for Austin fell 3% to $430,000. A big reason for this is the main chunk of our housing is that selling is in that $300,000 to $400,000 range. So when luxury isn't selling as well, it's going to pull our median price range down into these more affordable homes. It doesn't necessarily mean that values have fallen, okay? Median price $430,000. Closed sales are down 1.5% when we compare them to this same time last year. So we're having a little bit better year, but 2024 has not been the recovery year that everybody was hoping for. We have stable pricing, but we're still fighting to get that buyer demand out. 67% of the homes that are listed right now have been on the market for longer than 90 days. So they're not getting scooped up. There's kind of this older inventory competing with new inventory, and it is growing our inventory. Our months of inventory came up about half a month to 5.1 months of inventory. Now a balanced market is 6 months, but this market feels a lot more like a buyer's market than it does a balanced market. There are sellers listed that are going to stick to their price, and the odds are they're not going to sell. If they're not moving, flexible, this isn't the best time to see if you can get your price. Now, if you need to sell, it is a good time for that. If you've been on your home prior to 2020 or definitely prior to 2021, it could be a good time for that. But you're going to have to be very reasonable with your pricing. You have to listen to your realtor, and you need to make that property look good. Windows cleaned, property power washed, property cleaned and staged. Makes a big difference. Dollar volume of sales is down this month, just 1%, not really a notable thing compared to last year. But when we compare it to our last normal year, which is 2019, let's just go ahead and take that big, spike in activity out, and just look at a normal year, and that was 2019. This year, 2024, our amount of sales is still 25% less than that 2019 year. So, not quite that recovery year yet, like I said. We had a lot of new listings come on in the month of October, over 3,300 new listings. This is a 7.4% increase. Of course, some of our listings are being withdrawn. That's very popular at this time of year when we're getting into the holidays. Our sellers that don't really need to sell will come off market. A lot of those may come back on in January. The rule is on MLS, you've got to be off market for 90 days to reset your days on market. So if you're selling and you kind of want to time out for the holidays, you don't need to sell in the next month or two, it might be a good strategy to come back on January, February, looking like a new listing with your days reset at 0. Pending sales did have a nice big jump in October, 13% increase. That was great. We had a nice rate reduction in October. It only lasted about 4 days, but people that were able to grab that and run with it, they got some good deals. We did just have a recent 1/4 point reduction in interest rates. Now, it's not just a clean 1/4 point. There's all this math and hoopla that goes into it. But rates did see a little bit of a drop this week. We'll see what that does for our buyers. Let's see. Days on market went up. So it went up about 7 days. Our average is now 72 days on market. And list price to sales price. This is a smart number for sellers to know. The original list price to what you actually sell for is right under 93% right now. So if you want to do some math on your listings, there's the math you can do. All right, new homes. New homes have been taking the lion's share of sales for Austin. Why? Because they're big and they can do more than a single little seller can. They can own a lending company and share deals not just on the sales price and incentives, but on lending. They also own the title company. You know, everything is in-house. They're very large. They were getting huge payments. They were making huge amount of money on each house in the height of our market, 2020, 2021. They're good with taking less than that though, as long as they are making a profit. So they have brought those prices down. They have increased those incentives to still be able to sell. Yes, their margin of profit is smaller, but it is still a margin of profit. And they have the ability to do that. And a single homeowner does not. So new homes have been selling very well for the last 4 years. Now that lion's share is starting to shrink, okay? They only did 8% better than last year. In 2021, 2022, those numbers look like 45% better than last year. They're still doing fine. Condo sales definitely hurting the most. They always do in a down market when things are sitting. You know, it's hard to make sense of, okay, you get a lower price for a condo, but you've got this $350 a month in HOA fees. And it just kind of brings it back up to that price of a house a lot of times. So condos are hurting. Sales volumes down 4% when we compare it to last year, 2023. Not a big change. This was kind of a little bit better than 2023 market is what 2024 has been. Next year is predicted to be a better year, but hey, so was 2024 when it was 2023. Everybody always gets very excited about the spring. That is seasonally when most of our buyers come out. So I have some clients that are waiting kind of until, and spring starts in late February, y'all. It does not start in May. It starts in late February. I have a few sellers that are waiting for that time to list. Best time to sell because the most things sell, because the most buyers are out, but also the most listings are out. So it's still going to be a very competitive market. Nobody's really sure where rates will be. The best estimates I've heard have been that rates will continue to be in that 7 to 6% range. So not really worth waiting on the fence for. If you need to buy a house, there's lots of creative lending solutions that we can talk about, including free refis for the next 3 to 5 years, or a 2-1 buy down, or seller paid closing costs, or these new homes are giving away a ton of closing costs. So lots of options. If you feel like it's time to buy a house, call me. We'll see if it's a possibility. List price came down just 1% this year when we compare it to last. But what's more interesting than that, or more important, I say, is always sold price. That came down just 1%. So nominal, not even really worth mentioning changes there. That's showing our pricing stability. Let's see. You know, seasonally, we are in early November now, and we probably have until Thanksgiving to get some of our December sales in. And then once that Thanksgiving week hits, people go off to family, they go on trips. Majority of people are not thinking about buying a house. So there is some magic that can happen there, but it's usually this week before Thanksgiving if we're going to see some December contracts. In the market, buyers are still finicky. There are more back on market properties than usual. There's more withdrawn and expired properties from listings that aren't selling than in a typical market. So you really gotta, work with the buyers that do come out and make offers on the properties. For buyers, it's usually monthly payment and how much down that they care about. For a seller, it's usually sales price and when are you gonna close that they care about. There's a lot of terms that can be negotiated within that deal. closing costs paid, home warranties, realtor fees are negotiable. There are a lot of deals or things that you can do within a transaction to have the seller get the price that they are happy with and have the buyer get the down payment and the monthly payment that they are happy with. So our 2024 was pretty much, it's been a flat line, of activity. But the inventory is racking up. It is growing, and it has been growing for several months. So we are hoping that more buyers enter our market. First-time home buyers fuel our market. So I would love to see some first-time home buyer programs be rolled out this year. I haven't heard of any yet, but this is definitely the kind of environment where that would do a lot of good. So inventory's up, pricing is stable. Seasonally, we're probably going to see our sales dip. We're probably going to see some listings come off. February is when our spring market hits, y'all. So as always, I love talking about this real estate stuff. If y'all have any questions or concerns or ideas, you know who to call. This is Aubrey Shaw with Hill Country One Realty. Y'all have a great Thanksgiving.